First of all, AI models in the research and use of new treatments. It's a panel that it's going to be moderated by Miquel Duran, co-founder of Ersilia. So I want to welcome you all and your speakers.
Bon dia a tothom. Good morning. We're going to do this in English, if that's fine with everybody. Yes? All right, so good morning and welcome to this debate about AI models for research and the use of new treatments, organized by Catalonia Health, by the Catalonia Health Digital Committee. When we talk about AI and healthcare, mostly what comes to mind are the clinical applications at the point of care. That is large language models to assist doctors and also image recognition tools. Today, however, we want to focus more on what comes before all of that, that is the research and development of new treatments, and how AI is making also a transformative role in this field, equally important, if not more. I'm here with Ignasi Heras, General Partner at CRB Health Tech, also Nicolau, Chief Product Officer at Neuroelectrics, and Afons Nonell, co-founder and CEO of Death Health. I will let them introduce themselves shortly and in more detail, but maybe I can start. I'm Miquel Duran. I'm the co-founder of a small tech not-for-profit organization called Ersilia. The goal of Ersilia is to develop AI and machine learning tools for drug discovery, specifically in the Global South, developing countries, where we operate and give support to mostly African researchers so that they can conduct their research. We are a charity, we are a not-for-profit organization, and our goal really is to give capacity and advocate for the use of AI in resource-limited countries. Maybe, Ignasi, would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Sure, thanks, Miquel, and thanks for having us here. Well, a pleasure to be here today. Ignasi Heras, General Partner of CRB. So CRB is a venture capital firm investing since the 2000s in venture capital in life sciences. And currently we have a venture capital fund exclusively investing in digital health. So we invest all across Europe, digital health, mainly digital platforms, digital diagnostics, digital therapeutics. And well, we currently have 3 investments already, none in research and AI, unfortunately, but we're investing in virtual primary care platforms, data aggregation platforms, and as well all human resources management. So thanks for having us here.
Anna?
Yeah, hello, nice to be here. Thank you so much. I'm Nicolau, Chief Product Officer at Neuroelectrics. I'm a biomedical engineer by training with specialization in AI, but also have like this hybrid background with business. I want to introduce you Neuroelectrics. We are a neurotech company based in Barcelona, but also with headquarters in Boston. And we aim to revolutionize how patients are treated if they have brain diseases. So let me show you our head cap. We have a non-invasive stimulation head cap that can cure and treat patients with epilepsy, major depressive disorder, and other indications in the pipeline, such as Alzheimer's or OCD.
Afons?
Hey, thank you, Miquel. So I'm Afons Nonell. I'm the CEO and one of the co-founders of Death Health. And Death Health is a deep tech company that uses our computational platform. It's based in molecular modeling, artificial intelligence, and real-world data to improve drug development on infectious diseases. Our main goal is to boost the drug development on the infectious area, covering both antivirals and antibiotics, with a very ultra-fast process, trying to deliver our drug candidates to pharmaceutical companies in less than 3 years, if it is possible.
All right, so let's get into matter. When it comes to AI in healthcare, in my opinion, the debate tends to focus many times on like the futuristic view and the solutionist view of the technology, but actually there's a lot happening right now today. So maybe we can start by discussing this. This year, Nobel Prize, for instance, in chemistry was awarded to David Baker, Demis Hassabis, and John Jumper for the application of AI in protein design and structure prediction, most notably with the tool, the popular tool called AlphaFold. So, Alphonse, maybe you could talk a little bit about the implications of tools like AlphaFold and others in your field of research, drug discovery?
Yeah. The first thing is that AlphaFold for us is an amazing thing because it allows us to convert or transform the amino acid sequence of a protein to the 3D structure of a protein, which is our main bottleneck. So to start our drug development process, we need the 3D structure of the protein. And if it's not experimentally elucidated, it was not possible to start with it. And thanks to this tool, is it possible? We can do it now. And from a strategic point of view, it's also amazing in terms that help us it helps us to support that we are doing something that is interesting and something that works. Because sometimes when we talk with for investors or partners or customers in the past, because in the past I was selling services like the things that we are doing now, they said, okay, but how we can trust it? It's science fiction. It's not something real. So we cannot touch the molecules. We cannot touch the proteins. And to have a Nobel Prize in our field, I think is a very good point for science and also for business on this area.
Yeah, I fully agree. This also applies to our company as well. Also, coincidentally, I would say, or not, I don't know, this year's Nobel Prize in Physics was also awarded to Hopfield and Hinton for the invention of neural networks, which comes back to the 70s. So maybe that one is for Anna. What do you think are the implications of neural networks for the field of computational neuroscience, and how are the two fields interconnected?
Yeah, indeed, it's a very interesting field and our key element of our product. At Neuroelectrics, we are science-driven fully. Our co-founder is a mathematician and physicist from Berkeley. So all our products are developed according to like a core physics theory. So what's this theory? Let's put an example of MDD, major depressive disorder, which is one of the indications that we treat. We consider that every symptom, let's say anhedonia or rumination, is linked to a specific circuit in the brain, like an electrical circuit. So in order to treat that patient and that specific symptom, we need to target that circuit and modulate it by stimulating it with electrical stimulation, as we do. And why is this relevant for today's topic, right? In order to develop this treatment for that specific patient, we use machine learning. And computational neuroscience allows us to create a digital copy of that patient, of that circuit, in order to treat it in a personalized way. So it's totally key for us.
So in other words, do you have like a neural network that kind of emulates the brain?
Exactly. We create a digital copy of each patient's brain that, with neural networks, as you just mentioned, in order to personalize the treatment for each one of our patients.
Very interesting. Okay, so let's now move a little bit to collaboration between the stakeholders. I think it would be interesting for all of us to understand who are the stakeholders in AI for healthcare and how do they interact. It is well known, and maybe perhaps it's a myth, that the state-of-the-art AI models today are very expensive to train. So maybe, Ignasi, could you talk a little bit about the role of venture capital in fostering research in this area, if so much investment is needed?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Miquel, and good question indeed. So we try to see this approach in a more holistic view, right? So on the first hand, more the technologies driven that drug discovery and drug development. So drug discovery, pure drug discovery, facilitate and accelerate the protein design and different new compounds design. Second step, drug design. All these digital twins that emulates your human bodies. It could be heart, it could be lungs, it could be brain, in order to facilitate also the transition to the clinical studies. Then the third stage, clinical studies as it evolves. All the technologies, again, supporting the design of clinical studies, enrollment, and efficiency as well on this extremely expensive stage. Regulatory process. There are many companies as well. Probably it's less fancy, but required, and especially in this current new MDR regulation that supports as well all this process, and then all the market, right? So this as a first stage, or first block, and the second block, especially tech enablers. So all these technologies, digital technologies that support the current technologies. It could be next-gen sequencing or any device that you can find it in a laboratory use in order to enhance their capabilities. So we do try to see, both ways in order to find the right investments here.
So is AI something that is funded in isolation or usually as part of a bigger picture?
That's a good question, indeed. And there is, I would say, both. What we could see now, there is a bit of hype as well on this sector as good sectors and how AI is applying to different fields. We have seen right now, for instance, many copilots, right? It could be both supporting you in typing or your new email to your boss or to one of your colleagues, but also as well on the clinical research that is the topic of today. So I would say that it could be both. Here there is a bit of noise as well, so there are major players, DeepMinds and others that are playing and creating the benchmark, but there are others that I do suggest some specialization for specific fields that require specialization.
All right, thank you. So another common belief or myth, I would say, is that AI model training needs a massive amount of data, a lot of data, to work effectively. So maybe that one is for Anna and Alphonse. So where do you get your data from, and what kinds of partnerships do you have to establish with your data providers?
So in our case, we are lucky because we are moving in the drug discovery space, which is plenty of public data. It's not curated, and we have to do a strong effort. We invest a lot of time, a lot of resources on creating this data. But with the public resources that we have available, I'm talking about protein structures, protein sequences, public molecules, so we can do everything. But it's true that when we want to make something different, we need something else. And now, for example, we're working with a project developing new treatment for Staphylococcus aureus, which is the worst bacteria in bacteria affecting hospital infections. We're collaborating with IGTP from Barcelona, getting us a lot of data about resistance, bacterial sequences, and everything to be able to try the models with fresh and unique data, looking for new mechanisms of action. But it's a specific case. In general, at drug discovery space, there's no problem. If we want to move to clinical, so we start in a more difficult place.
Out of curiosity, because this is also relates to what we are trying to do, fostering drug discovery in Africa, is it difficult for you to have access to data produced by pharmaceutical companies?
Yeah, some pharmaceutical companies have some kind of open science, open innovation programs that then you can get some data.
Okay.
But it used to be in pharmaceutical companies that leave the therapeutic areas. For example, there are some of them that were working in the antiviral space several years ago, and they decided to close the area, and they make it public, with a lot of very small letter in the contract saying the rights over the molecules that you will develop and everything, but they have some public in open innovation programs, the data, which is also good, but you have to take care about the data that you take and the conditions that you accept.
Right. How about you, Anna?
Yeah, I would say we have 3 different data sets that we use. I will start with pharmaceutical companies, since you were already talking about it. So let me mention first that at Neuroelectrics, we also have EEG devices that we are already commercializing. Okay, it's not today's topic, but it's very relevant for data training because we have a lot of customers. These are usually pharmaceutical companies like Longboard, which is an epilepsy drug development company that was recently acquired by Lundbeck, or Alto Neuroscience. They IPO'd this year and they are doing AI training for MDD. So these are players that we already have access to through our EEG. Now, we are commercializing the treatment test. Like, we are collaborating, let's put it this way, we are collaborating with them in order to develop our digital twins. So we are getting the data in collaboration already with them. So that's, I think, it's a great approach if you can make it. We are lucky enough to be able to do it, but I think it's the best approach because you are already funding it with a collaboration, and the closest to market that you can be. So that would be one. Another one is for sure, I like venture capital. We have investors, we need them, and we are using the money in order to acquire the data ourselves and do clinical studies and training. And then another one you already mentioned, Afons, and we all know it's always there, which is public data. Our, some of the data that we use is MRI, EEG data, SEG, and different brain data that's already available out there. So this is usually the first step. So I went from last to first in terms of...
If I understand correctly, you pre-train your models on large public data and you fine-tune them, so to say, with your domain-specific data that you collect on the field?
Exactly. The common like phases is the opposite order that I explained it. So it's first you train in public data, and then you get your own data in order to fine-tune, validate, and iterate on your own indication. And then, if you're lucky enough, as we are, you even start using it in specific use cases for validation and commercialization. So you keep training it, but already putting it in use. And that's like, I think, the best way to, like the goal in which we all want to get.
And I would like to add something.
Sure.
That we're saying that we're talking about public data, and it seems that everything at the start can start from public data, and it's easy, it's free. I want to remark the thing that I said before. It's non-curated data, not structured. So you have to invest a lot of time searching, looking for this data, and then preparing this data to be able to use yourself. It's not easy that like to a web page and so I will download this database, I will start working on it. It's not like this. It's far from it.
Yeah, absolutely, good point.
And maybe real quick for you, Ignasi, in terms of investment, from the perspective of the investors, relying only on public data is perceived as something positive, negative, or depends on the case?
It's positive. It's case by case. So today we're talking about research and AI, but there is AI applied to healthcare. It's a broad spectrum, right? So we do value as well their own proprietary data. Of course, this that their own one. They have a proprietary data. They have their own labeling. So then it's something that it's part of their IP. Some research companies, they have their own IP, patents, whatever, but then there is the data that they can gather during their years, and then they can provide some modes that the other competitors they cannot have. So of course it's good to train the models with the public data. That I agree with the rest of the panelists that it's not there and just download and done. So it requires a lot of fine-tuning and a lot of research and access. But at the end of the game, it's good to have your own data set in order to have something that probably others don't have. But this is a general, answer. Of course, it's a case by case, and it will require, for specific topics.
Yeah, and just to add on your comments, we always need to have the validation with your own data. At least that's my experience. You can train with public data or not only proprietary data. But when you validate your solution and you say this is like the metrics are there and the final solution needs to be validated with your own data. At least that's what I suggest.
Yeah, and complementing this as well, it's sometimes algos are sometimes being mainstream. So there was like an era of creating super exciting algorithms that was okay, that was fine. But right now with again with Gen AI and others, so it's not. Well, it requires some time, but sometimes it's not as hard as it was a few years ago. So in order to have something unique, if you have the algos that it's on the shelf, you need to have something there. So that's why you need to gather all this data and to have well-labeled, well-structured, in order to have great inputs for the models.
Okay. Yes, that's super clear and useful for me as well, because we do face some challenges in validation and giving value based on the fact that we are based on open source data all the time. So I want to focus now a little bit on the challenges in AI adoption. All of us, everybody's talking about AI these days, but it's well known that few people actually do AI the hardcore way, and few people are actually using AI in their day-to-day research, certainly in healthcare. So I wanted to hear from any of you what are the challenges that you are facing in AI adoption? What are the main barriers at the organizational level, but also at the research questions level to really incorporate AI in your day-to-day research and activities?
Understand?
Go for it.
No, for us, the main bottleneck is the thing that we said before. It's to get data, and then to validate this data. You have to collect it, design the models, train them, and then validate with your own data. And the second one, in our case, is to allow people, external people, means partner investors, however, in the models, in the things that we are doing. So we are drug development. We have to sell drugs or drug candidates. And for us, the main thing is to help people to trust, help mainly investors right now to trust in the models and to trust on it. At the scientific level, it's also the development time, and it's to have the specific human resources. It's true that now there are a lot of tools based on AI too that helps you to develop, so you can program your models and then optimize the code, optimize everything. But now for us, the main bottleneck is this, to help people to trust us and then to have the resources to be able to do it. But we are special because we are biotech and we are very, very small and so.
Yeah, I think it's I'm struggling to pick one challenge. So I'll try to go for a few. I think we need to, or I need to speak about the regulatory challenges that we face. We are developing medical devices at Neuroelectrics, and that comes with a huge regulatory burden, for a good reason, but it comes with a huge regulatory burden. We are talking a lot with the FDA and having like these sprint discussions and FDA pre-subs, which are the interactions you can have with them in order to kind of cross-check that what you're doing is aligned with what they expect. And they are very reluctant, especially in approving things that make decisions. Let's put it this way. So every conversation we have with them, they are like, okay, but this technology is not diagnosing the patient, right? Or the clinician is still deciding where they need to stimulate, or they are very reluctant. So that's for sure something that, I mean, I understand why, but it's a barrier that we need to overcome, and we need to be like very transparent. And then another one that I think I'm still struggling and with figuring out how to do that, which is that it's very hard for users, customers that are not in the field to understand how AI is continuously learning. So you say, hey, now I'm delivering this to you, but in 2 months, it's going to be better. And they are like, if this can be better in 2 months, why are you giving it to me now, right? And to be honest, I don't have an answer to that. I've tried many things, many communication techniques, many whatever, but it's very hard. And I believe this is an educational work that we have to do from companies or from non-profits or like developers, let's say, to work on this and to really communicate, be transparent, and find the ways to make AI more understandable for users.
Yeah, fully agree. Lack of AI literacy comes along with lack of trust.
Exactly. So it's a good thing that it's learning, but it's a bad thing because it can always be better, so you don't want to settle.
I would like to add something to this. And sorry, Ignasi.
No,
it's regarding regulation, because I remember, I think it was 1 month ago, with the annual meeting of Catalonia Health, which is the former Catalonia Bio, we were discussing about regulatory issues on AI to the medical devices. Maybe I'm going further than the topic of today. And there is the AI Act, which is new regulation in Europe, which means a huge bottleneck for companies working in the medical devices space using AI, because the thing that you say that the models are learning, or the AI is learning to improve the model, it's something that in Europe now could become harder to work on it.
Yeah, at some point.
The main bottleneck, I think, for companies like you, it should be could be this.
Yeah.
The main worry.
And anything you want to add, Ignasi, in terms of investment and lack of adoption?
Sure. Well, fully agree with Alfonso and Anna. Probably just, probably turning the point is we do see challenges, but as well opportunities, mainly for 2 players. The first one, it's mid-sized pharma companies. We do believe that AI, it's democratizing healthcare, and as well for the players, so the stakeholders that we talked at the beginning of the session. So we do believe that these solutions also can provide access to all these pharma companies to deliver innovation to the patients. And the second one is for startups. We do believe that, or we do see at CRB 2 different types of models for this type of companies. The first one, it's pure tech companies that are providing services or with their own technology platform to other biotech companies or pharma companies. So here, the challenge that we see here is mainly how they differentiate with others, because there are different players. Again, algos are being a bit mainstream, and we do see differentiation between the players as something that you need to take into account. And the second model are the ones that they start probably with a tech part, but they wanted to deliver a pipeline of products. So it's more a mix of biotech plus health tech, and then the challenges mainly are about teams. We do see here some techie people, data scientists and others, and then some more bio. So there's a different way to approach things. And then we have seen some challenges in order to how to make companies grow, because at the end of the day, it's are 2 different type of companies in the world on only one. And then there is a commercial side because they need to sell. So it's a bio, it's tech, and then it's all the commercial efforts. So then they have some challenges as well to grow, to scale up, and to make competitive at the scale.
All right. So I want to ask one last question, but I would ask that you answer in 30 seconds because I want to keep some time for questions. So we've been talking a lot about current AI implementations, but it would be nice to conclude with some look into the future. So what is the AI breakthrough that you expect for the next 5-10 years, and how is that going to impact your current activities?
I have to go first, if you want. I know my answer. So I'm extremely excited about brain-computer interfaces. Elon Musk with Neuralink, we have Tom Oxley with Synchron, and many other players. The brain is such an unknown organ, and we are learning so much thanks to AI in these years. So it's going to be a great, great thing, and the ability to combine technology with biology in such a way.
This is a wild card question, right? Because I think that we don't know how it's going to evolve in the next 5 years. What I think, or I do believe, is that things will take more time than we expect. It happened before with the genetics. A few years ago, we thought that genetics were going to transform our lives in a second, and we have seen that it takes some time to adopt this type of technologies. So I do believe that as well, Gen AI and general AI is going to be implemented, but it will take a bit more time. But my bet, if probably we can just bet a good dinner in 5 years from now, would go to customized therapies. I do believe that this is a really challenging field that requires a combination of different approaches, both scientific, but research and clinical. So I do believe that it could be something that really will impact in the next coming 5 years.
And for us, I will try to have 30 seconds, sorry. We're able now to reduce the drug discovery time from 3 years to 6 months, only by using the models that we currently have. But then we have to pass all the lab testing, synthesis, in vitro, in vivo, and then preclinical and regulatory. I hope that in 5 years, since we are now able to reduce the discovery time, the design time, I hope that we're able to bypass also this lab testing, or at least to reduce it to the minimum things to make it quicker and faster than now.
All right. So we have time for one quick burning question, and if not, you will find us in the corridors here. Any question from the public? For Afons, Anna, or Ignasi? No?
It's the first session of the day.
Yeah.
So probably.
Yeah. If not, I think we can leave it here. Thanks so much, Afons, Anna, and Ignasi, and all of you for being here. I've certainly learned a lot, and I hope you have also learned. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.